Welcome to the Sellin' Podcast with Jeffrey Greif. Jeffrey has spent more than 45 years in sales and marketing. And for more than 25 years, he's presented sales seminars from large corporations to small businesses, as well as teaching university students all about the pride and passion of sales. Now, he's sharing that knowledge and practical advice with you to fast-track your journey to sales success. Whether you're selling a product, a service, or ideas, this is the Sellin' Podcast. And now your host, Jeffrey Greif.
Gotta start somewhere. The next few episodes are what I will call Sellin' 101, the basics of selling. For those of you who are new to the profession of sales, these next few episodes will give you the fundamental building blocks to start you on your sales career. For those of you who are seasoned salespeople, you very well may know this stuff, but listen anyway. Why? Because I have found that it is always important to be reminded of the fundamentals. You may just learn something new, and you most likely will be reminded of a strategy that you no longer implement, but you know you should. Also, if you are an experienced salesperson and you think I've missed some aspect of the fundamentals of selling, and you would like to share some strategy with our podcast audience, listen to the episode and send me an email or a text about a topic that you would like me to cover in a future episode. I would appreciate that very much. And for those seasoned salespeople who think you don't need a refresher course on the fundamentals, I would like to tell you this story. There is an ancient tale about a devotee of a guru who wishes to meet with his guru. He spends many months traveling to the mountains in India to meet and spend time with this wise old sage. When he finally reaches his destination and meets with the guru, he begins to tell the guru all of the books he's read that were written by the guru, all of the papers he's read written by the guru, all of the teachings he has implemented in his own life, knowing all the things he knows about the guru, where the guru was born, raised, schooled, all about his family, and all about the guru's teachers. And as he is talking and talking, the guru asks if the man would like a cup of tea. Yes, that would be very nice, the man responds. And as the guru pours the tea, the man continues to talk and talk about all of the things that he knows, all of the things he knows about the guru. And the man talks about all of his knowledge about meditation and all the things he knows about spirituality. As the guru continues pouring the tea, the man comes to realize that the tea has now spilled over the cup and onto the cup saucer and onto the table. And now the tea is spilling off of the table and onto the man's pants and onto the floor. Hey, he cries out. The tea is spilling out onto the table and onto me and onto you and onto the floor. Yes, says the guru. You see, you are like the teacup. You are so full of everything that you know that you will not allow anything else to come in. The lesson here is obvious, that you must continue to be open to allow teachings in, to learn more and more, even be reminded of the fundamentals. Even if you already know so much about sales and marketing, continue to be open to more and more information, even a reminder of the basics. So important to be a successful salesperson. And by the way, try new things, learn new things, and try them. I'm kind of reminded of the time I was speaking at a conference in Chicago, teaching salespeople and sales managers at my company about sales based on my experience, much like I am in the Sellin' Podcast. I mentioned during my presentation that when I was in advertising, I learned that more than 40% of airtime on TV and radio is advertising. When you are watching TV and listening to the radio, you are making someone else wealthy. You want to make yourself wealthy? Stop wasting your time watching TV and radio. Instead of watching TV, Spend time with your family, read a book, work on your business, exercise. And when you're in your car, never, ever, ever listen to the radio. Listen to a podcast or a book on audio, or stay in the silence with your own thoughts. Stop wasting your time. Time is precious. Learn. Spend your time learning. And a salesperson should never listen to the radio in their car, ever. Spend that time learning, listening to valuable audio in your car. Well, after my presentation, a salesperson came up to me and said, "My husband and I like to watch Wheel of Fortune every night." Now, I had just told them to limit the amount of television that they should watch and to stop listening to the radio. And this person came up to me to tell me that she watches Wheel of Fortune every night. I was cordial and I said, "Good for you. That's nice." But what I was thinking was, why would she say that to me? And the answer is, I believe that there are some people that want to, well, they want to believe in magic. She wanted me to say something like, "Oh, that's okay. See, I am sharing my experiences and lessons with you, and you don't want to make the effort to do these things. And because you're such a special person, I will magically grant you success in sales without doing all the things necessary to have success in sales." I, it's like an obese person saying, "Yes, I'm 70 pounds overweight and I'd like to lose 70 pounds, but I am not going to exercise and I'm not going to have a healthy diet." It's ridiculous. As a salesperson, continue to learn, continue to be open to more and more information, even a reminder of the basics. Continue your education always and implement strategies that you're learning along the way. Now back to our podcast. What is selling? Selling is finding people who may benefit from the product or service you are selling, meeting with those prospects, turning those prospects into clients, maintaining the relationship, and repeating over and over again. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, everybody. That is the basics of selling. Finding people who may benefit from the product or service you are selling. Meet with those prospects. Come to understand how to turn those prospects into clients. Maintain the relationship and repeat. What is Selling 101 specifically? Number 1, building upon your clientele. Number 2, developing new business, prospecting. Number 3, expanding your network to support your clients, your prospects, your business associates, your friends in the industry, supporting your community. And we'll get to all that in the next few episodes. However, what if you're a new salesperson? How do you find people to call on who you may have an opportunity to do business with? Number 1, find lists. Many times, trade associations will provide lists of their members. Perhaps the local chamber of commerce may provide lists of people you can call on. Depending upon your industry, there are often private companies that will sell you lists of professionals who you can call on. I don't know anything about many of the following companies that sell lists for salespeople. However, I just did a quick Google search, and this is what I came up with: Zoom Info, LinkedIn Sales, Navigator, Lusha, Casper, Lead 411, Lead IQ, Rocket Reach, Apollo, Seamless, Clearbit, and there were several others. Ask your manager or your boss if they know of any lists that you can work off of, or just use Google to search some preliminary lists from Google that may be helpful. Number 2, former clients of the firm who no longer send business to the company. In addition to professional lists, this is how I got my start. My company had many past clients who were no longer clients, and I received the approval from the owner of my company to call on them. Remember, when you call on these former clients who are no longer giving business to the firm, have the confidence to ask them why they are no longer clients. Attempt to overcome the objections, of course. And I'll be discussing handling objections in a future episode. And always ask if the former client can refer you to someone else who you can call on. Now, you may think that they are former clients who had a problem with your firm and therefore would be hesitant to give you a referral. Well, that may be the case, but you gotta ask. And what I have found, interestingly enough, is that about 2/3 of the people who you contact who were former clients, who are no longer clients, they will give you a referral, but you gotta ask. Number 3, tell everyone you know what you are selling. Ask them if they'd allow you to make a presentation to them, and ask them if they know of anyone else who you can contact who may find your product or service of value. Yes, tell everyone you know what you are selling. And I mean everyone. Family, friends, strangers. Strangers? Yes. I make it a point to strike up a conversation with strangers in elevators, online at the supermarket, everywhere. Smile, say hello, ask them about themselves. Hand them your business card and ask them if they know of anyone who may find your product or service of value. And if appropriate, follow up with them at some future time. Yes, sometimes I get leads from people who I'm standing in line with at the grocery store or in the supermarket or in an elevator. In fact, I once got my job at a company by meeting somebody in an elevator. So strike up conversations with everyone. Will everyone be receptive? Of course not, but do it anyway. Why not? And speaking of Sellin' 101, in this week's episode of Sellin', how can I not recommend Brian Tracy's The Psychology of Selling? Melanie, my podcast editor extraordinaire, let's post a link to this resource in the podcast notes. I tell you, I would never have been as successful as I am in sales without the teachings of Brian Tracy. Thank you, Brian. In the next episode, I will discuss building upon your current clientele. Now get out there and sell.
We hope you found this episode of the Sellin' Podcast helpful and of interest. Please make sure to like, rate, and review. And mention this podcast to a friend or a business associate. Have a comment about this podcast? Have a topic you'd like Jeffrey to discuss? Feel free to contact Jeffrey directly at jeffrey@sellin.net. He'll read and review every one of your emails. That's Jeffrey at SELLN.net. .net as in networking for success in sales. Now, take what you've learned today and get out there and sell. See you next time on the Sellin' Podcast.